Hello and welcome to today's episode of Filling the Gap, your one-stop shop for Pacers Gap Year coverage. I'm your host, Andrew Schreiner. Today I have an update on the Pacers' finalized regular season roster. So last episode I went over the details or the logistics here. The roster had to be set by 5 p.m. Monday. The Pacers made their moves over the weekend, and really everything was finalized just a few hours after I published the previous episode. So the big decision, after waiving a few training camp only guys, the big decision was that they needed to cut one player who was on a standard contract, and that was probably going to be either Tony Bradley or Cameron Payne. Now, I strongly suspected it would be Tony Bradley because of the injury situation at point guard that the Pacers are facing. But I was wrong. The shocker, Cam Payne was waived Saturday afternoon. And so based on this, obviously the Pacers feel they need 4 centers going into this season. They didn't want to cut Tony Bradley. And it does make sense. And under normal circumstances, that's what I would have been expecting with Isaiah Jackson and James Wiseman coming off of their Achilles injuries. They will not be playing back-to-backs, and you generally like to have 3 centers available to play any given night. And so it does make sense they'd want to have 4. Now, my thought was, given the injuries at point guards, maybe Obi Toppin could play the 5 if needed. He could be that backup third center. Honestly, I think it's possible the Pacers their best lineup actually includes Obi at the 5 anyways. But the Pacers don't seem to want to lead with that. So after the surprise of and the embarrassment of being wrong so publicly, I thought, okay, well, maybe this means Quentin Jackson's going to be ready for the opener. I'd seen some reporting that his injury was, quote, not too serious, unquote. So maybe he's ready for the opener. Okay, that makes sense to me. He can play the backup point guard. He's looked pretty good in the Summer League and in preseason. And he played well in some important minutes and even a start or two last season. But that is not the case. Per Tony East. According to Tony East's reporting, Quentin Jackson will also be out in addition to the other point guard injuries, which I'll go over right now. So here are the Pacers point guards on the roster and their injuries if they exist. So Tyrese Halliburton, out for the season, obviously. Andrew Nembhard, he's healthy. He will be the starter. TJ McConnell, hamstring injury. He's out until at least November 4th, according to Rick. Then Cam Jones, he is out with a back injury into November as well. Quentin Jackson has a hamstring injury also. He will miss at least the opener. And then Ray J. Dennis, who is healthy, but if you've been watching, you know I am not the biggest Ray J. Dennis fan. And so as the roster looks right now, it appears that Ray J. Dennis will be, due to injury, the Pacers' backup point guard for their season opener. Except, if we look back at the Spurs matchup in that final preseason game last Friday, they actually played without a true point guard. The Pacers played some significant minutes without a true point guard in the first half. So, for instance, they finished the first quarter with the 5 on the floor were Ben Shepherd, Talen Peter, Aaron Nesmith, Obi Toppin, and James Wiseman. And so Shepherd and Peter are doing some of the ball handling responsibility at the guard spots. And so it's very possible they could be planning to play without a point guard until someone returns, and Quentin Jackson will likely be the first one back. Or it's also possible that they trust Ray J. Dennis. Obviously, they've kept him around. They gave him a two-way spot, even with 2 other guards on two-ways as well. And so it will be very interesting to see come Thursday whether they play without a true point guard on the floor or whether Ray J. Dennis gets the backup point guard minutes. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. And that's all for today. So the big roster update campaign is out. Tony Bradley makes it. He makes the regular season roster, much to my and many others' surprise. So I'll be back on Wednesday with my season predictions, one final preseason episode, season predictions for the Pacers. So please subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. And don't forget to like this video and tell me what you think about the Pacers point guard situation in the comments. We'll see you next time.